class. For those of you who attend a lot of these classes, you might notice the sound quality has shifted again. I apologize, but we're having some issues with our wireless mics, so we're back to using Old Faithful. I'll just make sure that we're both kind of projecting towards the microphones, and hopefully the sound quality is okay for everybody. Welcome to tonight's class. We are doing fried chicken sandwiches with a spicy slaw and a corn side salad with Chef Jason. Super excited for this one, kind of a technique that I'm excited to learn about myself. If at any point you have questions during class, you can put them into the question and answer box. I'll put an announcement in that box when I get back behind the scenes to show you where that is. If you're joining us a little bit late, you can also hit the live button. It's down near the play pause button, and that will catch you up to where we are rather than making you start watching from the very beginning. So without further ado, I'll turn things over to Chef Jason, but put those questions into the question and answer box at any time, and you'll hear me pass those on. Chef Jason, take it away.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. As Carrie said, we're going to be doing fried chicken sandwiches with spicy slaw and a nice corn salad. This is obviously there's the fried chicken sandwich craze all over the country between all the fast cash places and all the fast food restaurants. So this is just a way to do it at home that's going to be just as good. Probably it's sexier and more delicious, and it's just going to be a great chicken sandwich. So make these at home and impress everybody. So we're going to get started tonight. First, so if you're cooking along tonight, it might be a little difficult because there's a lot of components. So just if you have any questions, please ask. But I'm going to be jumping around a little bit, trying to accomplish this in an hour, which we will do. But that's why I'm just going to kind of jump around a little bit. Okay. So I have started already just in here, just starting the brine. So all I have in here so far is the honey and the half a gallon of water. What we're trying to accomplish with the brine is we're just dissolving all of the aromatics and the salt and the sugar, which we're using honey tonight, into the brine. Then we're going to put our chicken in there for a half hour or so, just to keep the chicken juicy and moist. Prevents it from drying out, especially if you're going to use white meat like chicken breast, has a tendency to dry out. But doing this will keep them nice and moist. So that's why we do this. We're also going to put some herbs in here to kind of flavor them. And we're not going to leave them in the brine super long. If you're going to do like fried chicken and it was skin on, bone in chicken, you would want to leave it in there up to overnight, you know, up 12 hours, 12 hours. This one, because it's boneless, skinless, it's going to infuse pretty quickly. We're also going to pound the chicken out. So that's going to open up the chicken and let the brine get into the meat a little easier. So that's why you only have to leave it in for a little bit. So that's it. So we're going to get started with the first step. So yeah, we're going to make the brine. In here, I said I have the water. We're going to add the salt. We want a cup of salt. Grab a measuring cup real quick, sorry.
Yep. Up to your right.
There we go. So 1 cup of kosher salt. I already have the honey in here just because we had some solid honey and we let it get soft and we kind of scooped it in and putting it in now to let it melt. So a cup of kosher salt. We're going to put some whole peppercorns in here, you know, 10 to 15. You can eyeball it. I'm just going to throw those in. We're going to add a couple bay leaves. 2 bay leaves in there. A few sprigs of fresh thyme. Throw those in there. And that's it. And we're going to let that all come together, give it a stir. And as soon as everything is dissolved and heated, I'm going to bring it just before a boil, right to a simmer, and see it start moving around. Everything will be dissolved. You want to use, depending on when you're going to do it, use as little water as possible. I say half and half, like the half gallon of ice, half gallon of water. You could use like a quarter gallon, like 4 cups of water just to dissolve everything, and then put the rest on ice, and it's going to cool down really quickly. And that way you don't have to let your brine sit or cool or put it in the fridge or anything. It's going to be ready to use immediately. All right, so while that's heating up, excuse me, we're going to go ahead and get our corn into the oven for the corn salad. So I've got some frozen corn on the recipe. You can use fresh husked corn if you have it. This time of year is starting to be done with the fresh corn, so this works well. We just got some frozen organic corn. I'm just going to throw it on a cheap pan. We don't want to oil it or do anything, season it or anything. What we're trying to do here is just cook this to get to soften it and get a little bit of color on it. This corn salad that we're doing is kind of a Mexican street corn salad, or a play on kind of an elote, which is the Mexican street corn. It doesn't have the cheese in it, but it's got a little mayonnaise and all those seasonings, so it's kind of a play on those flavors. You can add some tortilla cheese or queso blanco if you want. That would be really nice, but this one we're leaving it out just because we have so much other stuff with the chicken sandwich and the mayo and the slaw and all that. So I'm going to just pop this in the oven. We have the oven at, I think, 425 degrees, and that's just going to be in there. I have it on here 20 to 30 minutes until it starts to get a little color. And you can just check on the edges. It'll start to get some color. You can move it around if you want, or just kind of char the edge. And then when that's done, we'll transfer it right to a bowl. All right, so we got this corn.
Somebody asked if you can use canned or tinned corn, or will that?
Well, that's got so much moisture in it already. You really want to dry that out and really pat it down. A lot of times that's cooked sometimes and not raw in the can, or it's been in that liquid that does kind of, again, soften it or moist. So you're not going to get as well of a char on it because of that. But if you do use it, just make sure you pat it dry really well and try to get some color on it in the oven. Okay, so while that's going, we're going to go ahead and pound out our chicken to get that ready. So what I have here, if you have a mallet or a meat tenderizer, use that. We're going to use the rolling pin today. Just going to grab a pair of gloves. Okay, so have our chicken here. I just have some local chicken. This is Misty Knoll, which is a local Vermont farm. So you can use any chicken you want. I have 2 pounds on the recipe. This is a little less than 2 pounds. This is going to make about 4 sandwiches. What I do is we're going to take each half or chicken breast lobe, and we're going to pound each one. So I just have a couple sheets of parchment paper here. We'll go ahead and lay the chicken in the parchment. And it's going to be loud for a second. We're just going to pound this out.
I'm going to mute us.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
Okay. Welcome back. So I just pounded the chicken out to about between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick. So what we're going to get out of each one of these lobes is 2 sandwiches. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of cut these into sandwich sizes. So we have 1 lobe here and another one, the other half there. And the same thing on this one, just kind of eyeball sandwich size. So we have 1 here and 1 here. And if there's any like trim that you want to take off that's falling off, you can, or you can kind of bread it up and eat it on the side or whatever. This one has just a little gunk, so take that off. All right, so those are ready to go in the brine when our brine is done. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side again. Now, by tenderizing it and getting it thin like that, when you bread it, it's not going to be super thick. It also helps tenderize it, so it's going to be just better mouthfeel, and you know, just when you eat the sandwich, you're not going to get any hard, gristly pieces of chicken, and that also on top of what we're doing with the brine. So this brine is ready. Everything's just dissolved in here. So you can go ahead and turn the heat off. Remove it from the heat. We'll go ahead and take our ice that I have ready to go. This is about a half-gallon ice. Now, when you're putting it in like a measuring cup or a measuring container, then remember to account for the air in the ice, you know, because it's not going to just sit on top of each other. So you may want to do like an extra couple cups. Again, like you put it in here, just it's again not scientific that it has to be exactly a half gallon, so a little extra is not going to be much. But the goal is to just cool it down as quick as possible. So what I always do is take some of the ice in here first. Just kind of cool it down, and then we're going to transfer it to this ice a little bit slowly. You get it cold quickly. Yeah, now it's cold. And if there's still a little bit of ice left in there, that's fine. Again, you're just infusing the chicken. You don't have to put this back into the fridge if you don't want to. Again, the brine is cold with the ice, and we're only going to let it sit out for about a half an hour. So you're not in any danger of getting up to temperature that the chicken's going to start to develop any dangerous bacteria. All right, so just putting the glove back on, a little harder with a wet hand. So all we're going to do is take those pounded out chicken pieces and put it into the brine. We start letting that get infused with some of that flavor. All right, so I'm just going to set this to the side.
Do you brine your Thanksgiving turkey?
Oh, I have. I've brined turkeys before. You can wet brine, you can dry brine. If you're really interested in brining, Kenji Lopez, if you know him, Kenji Lopez, obviously Food Lab and Good Eats and all that stuff. Go read his thing about dry brining and brining. It's pretty cool. He just talks all about it and the science behind it. So if you're really into different brines, whether wet brines, dry brines, check him out. Okay, just going to set this over here. And we're going to begin work on our coleslaw right now, our spicy slaw. We want to get this going now too, because again, some of these things, the vinegar really with the slaw is going to start to tenderize that cabbage. The salt and the vinegar and the hot sauce is going to start to tenderize your cabbage. So you want to get it going. So we got a half a head of cabbage, carrot, cilantro, scallion, and a jalapeno. No, not a jalapeno. The hot sauce, rice wine vinegar, honey, and then some mayonnaise. All right, so we're going to start our knife work for the coleslaw. Okay, just grab yourself a bowl. You want to make your sauce first and get that going. So we have our mayonnaise here. We go to our, we're going to add all of our mayo, the honey, the vinegar, the sriracha, the salt, pepper. So we'll start with our mayonnaise. No, sorry. There we go. It's about a half a cup of mayonnaise, so that's about 8 tablespoons. So we'll just kind of eyeball it one.
I think it's fun to watch you cook because you're not super focused on measurements. Like you wrote out these recipes for people, but you're like, yeah, just do what looks good.
I mean, it's really literally, it is about a half a cup, you know, and I just know it's 8 tablespoons. But again, these types of things, like this isn't baking. With baking, things are definitely more scientific because you're trying to get chemical reactions and things like that. With cooking like this, it's more about flavor and preference sometimes, you know. Then we're going to go 2 to 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. I usually go on the bigger side, so we'll go 3. Okay. We're going to do 2 to 3 tablespoons of honey. And if you do like something oily, like any oil or even your mayonnaise before you do your honey, it'll slide right out. Sometimes with honey it sticks, you know? So that's a good trick. Anything like sauces or hot sauces, if you do your oil first, things slide out. All right, and then we're gonna do a couple tablespoons of sriracha for our spice. And, you know, add less, add more, depending on your spice tolerance or spice preference.
Got another Kenji fan in the
comments. He's awesome.
Yeah, if you have a chance to buy his cookbook, The Food Lab, it's amazing. And then he's coming out with a wok cooking cookbook soon.
Yep.
And he's got a great YouTube series.
He does.
You can watch him cook from like his point of view. He wears a GoPro on his head.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all of our wet ingredients. Just a little salt and pepper for taste. So put a little salt, maybe like a half a teaspoon, and a little black pepper. Okay. Now just give this a mix. Okay, now we have our slaw dressing done and ready to go.
That name is Kenji Lopez Alt. It's in the chat as well.
Yeah, J. Kenji Lopez Alt. This is his full name. But if you Google just like Kenji cooking, you'll find it. Kenji. All right, so yeah, we have our slaw dressing. This is not the chicken knife, just so you guys know. So now we're going to go ahead and do the knife work for our slaw. We have a half a head of cabbage, and we want that chopped or sliced thinly. Best way to do cabbage is with the halves, split it down on the root end. And if you get it in quarters, it's really easy to take out the root, just like that. And then you can slice this whole thing. So I usually put it on its side and stuff. You can use a shredder if you want. I like a little bit of thicker cabbage and a little bit of crunch and texture that it's going to add to the sandwich. So if you get it to this point, you can turn it and do your thin slices this way. Go ahead and add that to the dressing. And then we'll go ahead and do the other half.
Can you use red cabbage?
Sure, you can mix different types of cabbages, red cabbage, green cabbage. I mean, you could use napa even if you wanted. I just like the texture. Again, it's a personal preference. I like the texture and the crunch of regular cabbage. So the red cabbage would be crunchy and just like this. Has a little bit of a different flavor, but not too much. All right, so we have that going on there. Next, we're going to do our scallions. We have 3 scallions. I like to take the root end off, and I take the outside pieces or 2 off till you get down to what you want. And we're going to go ahead and throw the green and the white parts into the slaw. The white's going to give us a nice sharp oniony flavor. And the green is just it's a little bit sweeter onion flavor. So the 2 of them in the slaw work really well. So I'm just doing them thinly sliced on a bias. And throw those in. Okay. Now we're going to take our some parsley, and we're just going to do a few tablespoons. This is just going to add a little freshness and a little color. All right, and just throw a little bit of chopped parsley in there.
If people are comfortable sharing where they're watching from in the question and answer box, we love knowing where people are tuning in from.
Yeah.
So let us know. We'd love to hear you.
Now we're going to take this carrot and we're going to shred the carrot.
Peeler. We got it.
So here's a trick. You can always peel with a spoon if you want. But we do have a peeler. A little easier, but the spoon trick does work. All right, so we're going to take a small carrot. Depending, again, this is personal preference. You like carrot, put it more in. If you don't like carrot, leave it out completely. All right, so I like to use the bigger part of the shredder.
Have someone here from Sydney, Australia. Welcome.
Wow. Good morning, I think.
Good morning.
Right?
St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, St. Paul, Minnesota. Cool. All right. A little bit of carrot in there. Got these gloves here. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Not much, again, just a touch. Okay. For salt, we did put some pepper in already, so. Now we're just going to go ahead and get this mixed up and, you know, give it a nice squeeze, really get the cabbage and everything and the dressing coating most all of the cabbage, because that's going to start to break it down and tenderize it and get it, you know, nicely dressed and broken down to put on the sandwich. This one I'm going to go ahead and throw into the fridge once it's coated. And that's that. And that'll be good. Because again, we don't have sauce on the sandwich either. So it's a little saucier because this is also going to act kind of as the condiment on the chicken sandwich. There we go. So let's go into the fridge. Okay, I'm going to check our corn here in a second to see how it's looking in the oven. And then in about, say, 10 more minutes, we'll start with our chicken dredging setup. And then before that, though, we'll start on the corn salad. So I'm going to just check the corn in the oven. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Okay, so I just gave it a little stir in the oven. It's almost done. It's probably got maybe 5 more minutes. So it's perfect timing to do the knife work for the corn salad, and then we'll go ahead and pull that out. Okay. One thing I did forget in the corn salad is lime. We're going to finish it with a little bit of fresh lime juice. So if you want to make a note, if you're following along, yeah, we're just going to squeeze a little fresh lime juice into it at the end. Okay, so I got all of the veggies here that I need to do the knife work. We're going to start with some red pepper. These are small, so I'll probably use both of them. It says 1 full red pepper.
Your knife is in between the plates.
Thank you. So these we're going to do just chopped, and there's small dice or small chops. So we'll take the top off and the bottom off. This is the way I do peppers. It's pretty easy to do it this way. So we'll get some stuff out of that. Take the top off, take the bottom off. Come right in the side, and you're basically going to unroll it like that and take the seeds out at the same time. So that's your pepper ready to go. Do that one more time. Just going to get right in between the seeds and the pith and everything. We'll take all that out.
We have someone from Coney Island and San Diego. Welcome.
Cool. Coney Island and San Diego. All right, so then we'll just kind of break these down so they're easy. We'll cut strips. And then we'll just come across and do some little dices. Same thing with this one. Don't waste these guys. Get your tops. You can just kind of go through this way and then this. Some more dices. And off like this. Okay. Red pepper in there. Next, we will do our scallions. We're going to do the scallions in a similar way. So take a couple of these scallions. These are long and skinny, so we'll do 3 instead of 2. Set these over here. All right. Same thing as we did with the slaw. Line them up. Take the root end off. Peel off the outside 1 or 2 so you get down to the less fibrous bits. And then just line them up, and we're going to go on the bias again. It's nice thinly sliced.
Chef Jason is also happy to take any questions about cooking that aren't necessarily with this recipe. He's happy to answer your other questions, so feel free to put those in the chat as well.
Yeah, any questions you guys have that I might be able to answer, feel free. Okay, so scallions go in. Little cilantro. So we're going to use about a 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro. Again, I'm eyeballing, but feel free to measure. But that's about a 1/4 cup once we chop it. And we're gonna leave this to the side though. We're gonna put this in at the end. Okay, so that's done. So what I want to do is I'm going to go grab the corn, okay? Be right back. So you guys can see there's a little color on here. These are starting to char up on the edges. And once that happens, just want to get it off of the off of the sheet pan. So grab your spatula used to stir it and just kind of get it off the sheet pan. It's going to stop it from cooking. And I'm going to throw this into the fridge, actually, just to cool it quickly. And if you want to do it really quickly, you can throw it into the freezer. But for our purposes, the fridge, it should only take 10 or 12 minutes. All right, now that is cooling, I'm going to start just heating up our oil for the fried chicken sandwiches. So we're going to, again, you can use canola oil, soy oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil. We have a combination of vegetable and canola tonight. Personally, I like peanut oil. It adds a really nice flavor. So again, it's a personal preference. We use 6 to 8 cups, a decent amount, because you want the chicken to have enough to where it's not just sitting on the bottom. So again, depending on the type of pan you're using, that's up to you. I'm going to use a big cast iron griddle pan, griddle pan tonight. So that's going to work. The oil will expand, remember. So, I'm going to put about a half an inch or so in the bottom, and that's going to expand as it heats. All right, so our oil's heating. You want to get that to about 375 degrees or so. And we will just we'll temp that if you have a thermometer, temp that. I'll show you another trick on how to make sure it's ready if you don't have a thermometer. All right, so we're going to set up our dredging station right now. I'm going to do it in this type of style. So we're going to go, you just want to set up a triple dredge. I'm going to move my cutting board while I do that.
Somebody asked, can you reuse the oil? And if so, what's the best way to keep it until you use it again?
So yeah, you can definitely reuse your oil. The best way to keep it is just let it cool in the pan and then strain it either through just like a fine strainer, like a really fine one, or cheesecloth if you really want to get everything out. And you can store it in a container, like a glass container is probably the best, like a jar.
Do you want me to go grab the thermometer from downstairs?
Oh, I think we're okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to set up a dredging station. I'm actually going to grab, let's see, one more container like this, and then we're going to have a bowl in the middle. So I'll just make it easy on myself with those 2 bowls. Okay. So we're going to go dry, wet, dry, and that's the way we're going to do this dredge. You can, sorry, just reading how I wrote this. You could just do 2, you could go dry into the wet and then back into the dry. but you know, keeping it, this is just going to give you a nicer product in the end. Okay.
Do you want another cookie sheet to lay this dredge
Sure.
one
That would be cool. Thank you. Okay. So we're just going to get our dredge set up here. We'll take some all-purpose flour. So I have 6 cups. We're going to do, you know, 2 or 3 cups in each container of the dry. Well, you got your 2 dries set up. I don't know if you guys used to watch Emerald, but he always used to say something that stuck with me. He would say, I don't know where you get your flour, but where I get mine, it doesn't come seasoned. So you have to season your flour. You always use salt and pepper. You can put other stuff in here. You want to make it spicy, put some cayenne pepper in here. You want, you know, other flavor, you know, chili powder, cayenne, garlic powder, garlic salt, whatever you want to put in here. I just want to put a little salt and pepper because we have a lot going on with these sandwiches with the slaw and the pickles and everything. So that'll come through. All right, just give these a little bit of a mix. And then we're going to take some buttermilk. About a quart. This is a quart. We probably don't have to use it all. But we'll just put some in there. And again, put a little salt and pepper in that. All right, that's all set. I'm going to grab a glove. And we'll grab a sheet pan to put it on when it's done. Okay. I just have a little rag here. I'm going to pat the chicken dry before I get going.
Sorry,
Fan just kicked on.
so sorry if it gets a little loud. It should be good about knocking it back.
All right, so. Wash my hands here. All right, so you got all our chicken out. Make sure you, if you see any peppercorns or anything, just pick it off. Excuse me. There we go. And we'll just pat these dry. Use paper towels, you can use a rag. Use a rag, just make sure that none of the linen or anything transfers onto the chicken. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take our pieces of chicken and put them in our first dredging, dry dredge the flour. Just want to coat them all over, just like this. Put it into your wet. And then into the dry.
Did have someone email me before class asking why buttermilk and if there was anything you could sub for it.
So buttermilk, I mean, it's thicker, so it's going to help with the sticking of the flour. It's also acidic, so it's going to help tenderize the chicken a little bit. And it's got a little bit of a flavor, you know, so it adds to that. You can use milk, that's fine, you know. You could use almond milk or anything that you basically just want to wet to help the dry stick, and that's why you go with the dry first and then the wet on that, and then the second dry really gives you that nice crispy outside layer of nice fried chicken.
Then you can make buttermilk if you're really in a pinch, right?
Oh yeah, you can make buttermilk. You just take buttermilk and you take a couple teaspoons of lemon juice and let it sit out. I think for a couple hours, and then it's buttermilk.
With regular milk, yeah.
Yeah.
We had someone ask here a question related to nothing. I just got a jar of za'atar. I realized I don't know how it's best used. Any thoughts?
Oh, it's just a delicious seasoning combination. So it's really good on chicken. lamb, it's great on any meats. You can also use it on grilled vegetables. Yeah, it's just a really nice seasoning blend. It's Turkish actually, and so they put that on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, somebody else has a question. Could you brine or brine and dredge a large amount of chicken and freeze it to use later?
Yeah, you can do that, definitely. You can, that's basically what, when you get frozen chicken tenders, that's basically what it is. They've already, sometimes they brine it, and that's why it stays so juicy. It's infused with like salty, sugary water. And then they dredge it and brine it. So let me just check this oil real quick and see how we're looking. All you want to do is kind of see how it starts frying. It starts bubbling, and it's pretty much ready to go. So we're going to start frying these. We're going to give them a few minutes on each side, probably 3 minutes on each side, and then we're going to check them. All right, so those are laid in there. And just clean up this dredging station, and then we're going to finish our corn salad while those are going. All right, I'm going to rinse my hands.
So a few minutes on either side in case the fan drowned that out. We're going to let the chicken fry, and we're going to finish with the corn salad prep while that is cooking.
All right, yeah, like Gary said, sorry, let's get fans kick on. Chicken's frying. We're going to check it in a minute or two. And just turn it over. We want to get a nice golden brown color on each side and make sure it's cooked through. And while that's working, we'll start finishing this corn salad. Okay, cutting board back. I'm going to grab the corn.
Anybody have any other questions at this point? Go ahead and put them in the chat.
Questions? All right, I'm just going to give our chicken a look too. See how we're looking. Oh. Yeah, we're going to give those a turn. All right, I turned it down just a little bit, but we're looking nice here. You guys can see the one side's nice and golden brown. So we're getting there. Let those keep going. Okay. That's going. This corn's still a little bit warm, but that's okay. You can let yours cool 100%. Take the veggies that we chopped up, throw those into the corn. Mix those around. We're going to, we forgot to chop up our jalapenos. So same thing with the red pepper. Take the top and the bottom off. Be careful. If you're really sensitive to spice, put a glove on. I'm pretty good with the tolerance. So again, you're gonna roll this on the outside, taking out the seeds and the stems.
Better you than me.
That's where a lot of the spice is right in here and all these seeds and stems. If you want it spicier, leave some in. If you don't, take it all out. Today I'm taking it all out. And again, I'm just gonna chop this up. Okay. I'm gonna just run back to the chicken again. Okay, so we're looking almost good on the chicken. I'd say another minute or two. So we'll finish up this corn salad. So we're gonna do a couple tablespoons of mayonnaise. And if you don't like mayonnaise, you know what, you can leave it out. You can use olive oil. That's fine. And
Somebody asked, could you do the same method and use an air fryer versus frying in oil?
You know, I've never done these in there. So I have an air fryer. I use it. I've never done anything battered or breaded in it. And I was thinking about that before the class. It's like, someone's going to ask me about the air fryer. And I don't know with a dredged battered thing how it would work. You could try it, you know.
I'd say whoever asked should try it and then email me and let me know how it turned out.
I'm sure if you Googled it, you could find someone that's done that, I'm sure. All right, I'm gonna pull this chicken off. Okay, these look really nice. These are, see all that nice crispiness right here?
The fans go off. Great.
You see all the crispy bits and everything, all those crunchies, that's what you're looking for. Now, if you don't know if it's done or not, you know, we could take a knife and just cut into one of the bigger ones and see. And I'm pretty sure these are gonna be fine. Oh yeah, these are nice. Or, you know, the best thing to do is get yourself a meat thermometer and temp them, and when they're at 160, 165, they're good to go. So these, again, we're just gonna let them cool a little bit, pat them dry, let the oil drain a little bit while we finish our corn salad.
Somebody has asked, could you use Greek yogurt instead of mayo for this salad?
Sure, definitely. Sour cream, Greek yogurt, creme fraiche would work. So any of that is fine. I'm gonna grab.
Sounds like we have a lot of people watching who are already really good in the kitchen and know some great substitutes and some great options. Should be tipped over on its side on the top shelf. Whatever it is, yeah, that's the fall over.
Okay. Sorry, guys. So I just said I wanted to grab a different hot sauce. The sriracha works in this, but I like to use like a hotter sauce. I'm going to use Tabasco today. You could use some other fun hot sauce that you have that you like. Sriracha has definitely that fermented pepper flavor. And since we already have that flavor in the slaw, I wanted to use a different one. So just a few dashes of Tabasco or whatever hot sauce you want to use. Grab a spoon. Mix this guy up. All right, so last step for this, again, just a little salt and pepper. Salt, pepper. We're gonna go ahead and put our cilantro in there. If you don't like cilantro, leave it out. Some people don't. Okay, and then we're going to finish this, like I said, with a little bit of fresh lime juice. Get that open, just squeeze a little bit of lime juice in there. And that's a corn salad that'll go on the side with our chicken sandwich. Okay, the last step for this whole meal is our buns for our sandwich. So today, I like to use some sort of sweet bun. So you can use some, I don't know if you have a Martin's potato roll where you are, if you have a King's Hawaiian bun, you can use a brioche. Today we have, there's a bakery here in Vermont called Stewart's, and these are their challah rolls. So these are kind of sweet. So any kind of sweet, soft bun is what you want to use.
Could you do this gluten-free? Would it work with gluten-free flour in the dredge?
Yeah, again, that would work. For the bread, you could use almond flour. It doesn't crisp up as much, but you could use it. You know, and you get if you have a gluten-free roll that you like, you could do that. You could serve it without the bread. All right. So while we start plating everything, I'm gonna pop these in the oven just for a couple seconds.
To the left, about knee height.
All right. So lay these into the oven. And literally like 3 minutes just to warm. You know what? I don't like them like crispy and toasty. I still want some softness to my bun, but I do like a little warmth, maybe just a little texture. Okay. So now we're going to start getting a spot to set these up. All right. Waiting on our buns, but while we do that, we'll get a couple plates. The slaw. And we have some nice kosher dill pickle slices here. If you don't like pickles, again, you can leave those off. We have our slaw right here. All right, and now we're almost ready to plate. So like I said, I don't want to leave those buns in the oven very much. Like that's about as long as I like to leave them in. Oh yeah. So, and with these buns and the softer rolls, they do toast faster, so be careful. So, bottom, top, bottom. All right, so we're gonna plate these now. So we got our bottom buns. We will take some pickle slices. Take like 3 or 4 of those guys. Take one of these massive chicken pieces and throw that right on there. Some of this nice slaw right on top.
If you don't do the slaw, do you have a favorite sauce, or would you eat this just with the pickles and the chicken?
I mean, I could use some sort of mayonnaise or some sort of, you know, that type of thing. I just love the slaw. Like I like coleslaw on the sandwich anyway because of the condiment aspect with the crunch and the texture. It just adds a whole nother dimension. So personally, I just recommend the slaw. But if you don't like slaw, yeah, you could use any kind of sauce, honey mustard, you know, ranch. All right, and we're just going to serve it with a little bit of this nice colorful corn salad. There we go. Nice fried chicken sandwiches with spicy slaw and corn salad. Any questions?
Yeah, so I'll leave the chat box open for another minute or two in case there's any last-minute questions. Chef Jason's really good about timing. He almost exactly does an hour every time to leave plenty of time for questions. But thank you all so much for attending. Thank you for tuning in on a Monday night or Monday, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I can't say Monday night all the time.
Tuesday.
And I will send a survey link out tomorrow by email. So you'll see my email again. Wanting to know your thoughts on the class. Everyone's saying looks delicious, looks great. Kim, the brine guy is, well, Jason has his brine, and then if you're interested more in the science about brining, it's Jake Henji Lopez Alt. And I put that into the chat as well if you need it typed out. But if you just search like Kenji, Kenji, Brian, you'll find it. It's all over the internet. But I can't wait to dig in, and thank you all so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the event because I don't see any other questions coming in, and let everybody get to their evening. But,
thank you, guys.
Have a great night, and we will see you all at our next class if you're interested tomorrow on Tart to 10. Bye.